Hey guys, welcome back to the daily crypto market update. BTC closed red after all the volatility that happened yesterday, down 1.11%, and it wicked below the fast line. Just like back over here on the 8th of January and the 9th of January, and again here on the 12th of January. The important thing about yesterday's price action is that the price of BTC did not close below this line. While it hurts to see crazy volatility, can we all appreciate for a minute the fact that we had another tariff scandal, flash crash, whatever you want to call it? BTC dropped like 4% or something like that on the fears of this tariff. Do you guys remember all the chaos that unfolded back in March and April over here, or really starting in late February? When we got the first tariff tumbles, it was 5%, it was 4%, 3%, it was 5% again. We dropped from 96K down here to 78K, 18% over 5 days. And where's BTC right now? It's like literally, it's Bitcoin just got a little prostate exam instead of getting open heart surgery back over there. Like, it's uncomfortable. Believe me, it's uncomfortable. But this is still looking really, really good for BTC. As long as it doesn't close below this green line, guess what? We're making higher highs and higher lows. After Bitcoin moved up here last week on Wednesday, I pointed out several times, well, we have daily RSI coming up. It's not exceeding the previous high. It's also showing some good signs that we might see a reversal in terms of stablecoin dominance, which is exactly what we saw. So we got a reversal and we got our first touch to the fast line. I said, if we don't see bullish continuation, the next target is for BTC to go down here to the fast line, which is about 90K or so. That happened. Now that it's done, and best of all, we got the Band-Aid treatment, which is always way better than the slow tear, the slow pull, especially when you have hairy arms like I do. It's not fun to have the Band-Aid treatment go real slow. We just want it to be real quick, whoosh, like Steve Carell and the 40-year-old version, just like that, just nice and fast. So yes, falling down 4% hurts, but the good news is that we're not down below the fast line. Now, what happens if BTC continues to suffer because of uncertainty around the US and Greenland and tariffs and all that fun stuff? Well, if BTC closes below the fast line, it's not the end of the world, but it's definitely not positive. It's not good. Yesterday's volume did exceed the moving average. We did have a decent lower low. We did have a good lower wick. It's not the end of the world. It wouldn't be terrible. But we also have to remember that we're getting close to the end game here. And the end game is inevitably for BTC to fall out of this bear flag and basically make one more push up to complete the bull trap up to like 102K and then roll over and go a lot lower this year. So if we go back to some of these drawings, I keep deleting that. That's right. So we have our bear flag right here. And even though the price is going up, making higher highs and higher lows, it's still good. Like, we're all right. But the inevitable outcome, whether we go up here to hit 102 like I expect us to, or we drop down here and lose support at 90K, we're going to basically retest previously lost support, and we're going to go lower because that's the direction that bear flags work. Bearish outcome instead of a bullish outcome like a bull flag. Now, in terms of RSI, unfortunately, it did lose a lot of momentum that we were building up from November. We can see this good trend and it lost it. That's a negative sign, I have to admit. That's not a very positive thing. I still think, though, that we should get one more push up. And I keep saying that because if we look at the weekly time frame, Bitcoin did touch or tag the fast line here, but honestly, it should still move up to the top of the cloud or a little bit higher than it, because that's exactly what happened back over here in March. If we go over to March 2022, same thing happened. We had a lot of this chop, a lot of, tossing and turning, and we got to push above. There was a lot of really good bullish volume and excitement here, except it was a trap and we fell a lot lower. That's what I'm waiting for to happen next. And I still expect that to happen. Yes, RSI in the weekly time frame is starting to recover. No, I don't expect things to go super uber bullish after this. It makes way more sense to fall lower and lower. Okay, now let's keep going. Ethereum is also suffering along with BTC. Yesterday, it fell down about almost 3%. Volume exceeded the moving average, which is great. But again, is it really putting in these huge pumps that we really want to see? No, it's not. Is on-balance volume rocketing up higher? No, it's not. Is RSI looking super duper strong? Not really. It's not terrible, but it definitely isn't great. We want to see another bigger push. Again, my short-term target for Ethereum is still 34, 35 based off of the lower wick here and the pivot high here. That makes the most sense. Ethereum did close right at the fast line. Wow, look at that. Right above it. So we want to see it close above. It's done this before, same as Bitcoin. So I'm expecting one more push up. And again, for Ethereum, I think it makes sense for it to go up here to the top of the cloud, up as high as 3,600. I know it seems crazy, but that's what I'm thinking is going to happen because the same thing happened back over, and you guessed it, in March. Now, why do I keep going over here to March? Well, it's because we saw this happen over and over. Look, we have this target here. We have a pivot, and we see the price going up, trying to get it, fails. We finally get pushed up a little higher, and we go to the top of the cloud, and we roll over. That's what I'm expecting to happen this time around too. ETH BTC showed more weakness because Ethereum underperformed against Bitcoin. It doesn't really matter. No, if you're trading ETH BTC, just understand that we are near the reversal, this pivot high moving up higher and higher. So yes, I think that ETH BTC could push up maybe up here to like TBO resistance, but pushing up this high, which would be Ethereum outperforming Bitcoin by 20%, is extremely unlikely. Yes, we have some bullish reversal signs and strength here. Yes, on-balance volume is kind of showing a bottom here, or we could see a reversal, but RSI is looking pretty weak and neutral. On the weekly time frame, it's in bullish consolidation, but it's struggling. Again, I think it makes way more sense to see everything go a lot lower because we're heading into a bear market. Stablecoin dominance is by far the worst chart right now, unfortunately for us, because this is the outcome we don't want to see. Now, this is the one chart where it's like, I don't really want to see this at all. And I know you don't either. But the candle closed above the fast line. So this is the bearish inverse of the good things that have happened for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Because it's closed above, it's not the end of the world. This is still bearish consolidation. Bearish meaning going down. Consolidation means it's chopping. So we're waiting for one more move down here, which will mean one more move for RSI to go down. And that'll most likely be it. Now, what will convince me otherwise, like, okay, nope, that's over, we're done, is if stablecoin dominance pushes up here above the daily cloud. That might tell us that we're done. We're not going to get that push up to 102K. We have to be flexible. We can't stay rigid in our beliefs or expectations about the market. We have to stay fluid, just like the market is. The market doesn't obey us or our predictions. We're making the best analysis that we can with the information that we have, but we can't be so silly as to, why do I have some of these tabs open? We can't be so fixated on our own targets and biases. We just have to be flexible. Another thing to point out that's just sticking out to me right now is it also pierced overhead resistance. Now, there's a good chance it gets rejected from here. It really is. Again, I still expect it to go back down, but most likely the next move down will be the last one. And then we push up a lot higher. How much higher? Well, on the weekly time frame, I keep saying this over and over, but stablecoin dominance, when we see this increase in a percentage, this means that stop losses are getting triggered. It means that there's a lot more fear, a lot more pain in the market. If we draw a Fibonacci retracement from, no, not that one, sorry, from back over here in 2022, down over here to the lowest low, and we're going to switch this to my template. So we could go as high as 23%. It's not a perfect science here with Fibonacci levels when we're combining this and looking at dominance, but 23% is possible. We also have historical fibs that are starting up here at around 18%. So either way, I do believe that we're going to see stablecoin dominance meet or actually exceed this high at 16.67-ish% right here back in June. That's what we want to be looking out for. Okay, so that means an increase potentially 100%, which is going to mean a lot more downside continuation this year. I know a lot of you are still in disbelief. There's no way it's going to happen. Bitcoin's going to bounce up and go higher. Okay. If it doesn't, though, and stablecoin dominance keeps going up higher, that's a big indication that we're going to go lower. Now, Bitcoin dominance yesterday had a big spike up. It made a very high local high. But note what happened with RSI. Even though we had a big push up higher, we did not see RSI even get overbought above 70, which is positive. Yes, it's up Yes, this is up. This is usually bad news for alts. I'm still holding on to my expectations that we're going to see this roll over. We'll see. Usually when we get overbought, that's it. Even if we get another push up higher. So we're waiting for one last one last drop for Bitcoin dominance and stablecoin dominance, which will give way to others to go up higher. Now, the positive things that I'm seeing here for others dominance, and the reason why I look at the dominance charts, by the way, for those that don't understand, dominance is showing us the crypto pie. And it's more like the blob from like the 50s, like that horror movie, where it's this amorphous entity that keeps shifting and squeezing and squishing and expanding, right? So dominance is still these fixed percentages, but they're going to adjust and change. And when we see an increase in stablecoin dominance, that's an increase in fear. When we see an increase in Bitcoin dominance, it's taking away dominance from other places, like others. So the positive thing about what I'm saying is that even though we had a very long lower wick yesterday, it actually looks better than expected, to be honest. Yes, it's bad. We don't want to see others drop lower. We also know that RSI is also oversold. We know that we put in a low on Sunday at 21.62, much higher than 19.24. Again, my expectation is for this to go up. I know it doesn't seem like it's going to right now. We had a pretty decent little run and it's starting to fall down again. But again, I'm seeing the same kind of long lower wick. The long lower wick is telling me that there's demand for alts. Even though people are buying the dip, we're not seeing a good response yet. And again, that has to do with this. So if we can see Bitcoin dominance and stablecoin dominance drop, it's going to go into others, into alts, all that fun stuff. It's already starting to. In Solana, XRP was actually increasing a bit yesterday after being on a massive downtrend, down 20% from 4.5% down to 3.7%. So we're seeing that shift. It's just Bitcoin really needs to help lead the rally. Okay, now we need to look at good grief. S&P Futures. So because Monday was a national holiday in the United States for Martin Luther King Jr. Day, S&P Futures was not open, but it kind of was open yesterday. If we go here to the hourly, it was, but as far as the S&P goes, it wasn't open. Now, the bad news is that this put in a much lower low. The good news is that compared to BTC, even though it dropped a little bit this morning, just before the daily candle opened, this is still positive in my book because this is making lower lows, but this is actually starting to show signs of recovering and bouncing back. And again, we have a fair value gap up here at about this range. So I still expect the price of BTC to go back up to 95K. That makes the most sense. But again, I'm getting distracted. Even though we have a gap here, and that might seem bearish to you, we're used to having bearish gaps that are like right here, which means that the price has to fill them by going back down. But having a gap to the upside is actually extremely positive. Why is that positive, Aaron? Well, it's positive because that means that the price, in order to close it, has to go, you're right, up. So we already have a bullish target, even though there's a lot of uncertainty around what's happening with Greenland and tariffs and all that stuff. The good news about this situation is that we have a gap up situation, which means that the S&P Futures is more likely to actually close up higher, which will lead Bitcoin, hopefully. Now, there's one more thing I didn't add here to the list that someone was asking about, but I think it's worth pointing this out as well. Gold, we know on Monday, had a gap up as well, because there's an increase in fear. There's a gap here at 46.19 and it shot up 1.5%. Gold will continue to push up higher while we have more uncertainty in the market in general. Okay. Now, again, because we have a gap lower, there's a good chance that gold will close that gap going down. Silver does not have any such gap at all. It's actually pushing up higher and higher. These are both extremely bullish charts. I'm not saying short these at all. I'm saying that these are buy the dip moments, but again, we're focused more right now on S&P Futures, on the fact that we have a bearish gap for gold and a bullish gap for S&P Futures, which is great. So this is actually a good setup for us to start the week well with a recovery, which is why I think BTC will push up. We'll create another leg up higher, and we will be going up to about $102,000. I feel like that's the most logical outcome. Now, I have way more that I'm going to be sharing with you in this video, but I actually go into much more depth in the Better Traders courses and also in the Better Traders Club. If you're not sure where to start trading crypto and you're spending way too much time at the screen and you want to spend basically no more than 15 minutes a day trading, check out 15 Minutes to Financial Freedom. It comes with coaching, it comes with a 1-month trial to the Better Traders Club, and access to the best trading view indicator I've ever used, the trending breakout indicator, the TBO for short. So check that out. All the links are down below. Plus, check out our exchange partners, BYDFi and WeX. Both of these have some great kickbacks and bonuses for either trading and generating volume on the exchanges or depositing funds onto the exchanges, and you actually get money back, which is pretty cool. So check out those exchange partners down below to support me and the channel, and let's get back into it. Now, as always, I am happy to look at the coins that you have suggested and your requests. I might actually be covering one of your requests, which is totally fine too. But if I'm not mentioning the coin, your altcoin that you want me to look at, leave a comment down below. But in return, like the video, leave a comment. Well, you have to let me know what you want. Subscribe if you haven't, and also consider sharing this channel online, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, I don't know how that would work so much, but X or YouTube, just retweeting, reposting. It helps to grow the channel. It supports me. And it also helps other people to become better traders too, to learn how to navigate the bear market up ahead. Okay, let's get into my picks. All right, first, yes, we actually have some breakouts to watch. These light blue flags right here indicate TBO breakouts. This is part of the trending breakout indicator's name, the namesake for TBO breakout. Now, understand that breakouts, there are good ones, and then there are exhaustion ones. Good ones as in there's a good chance of continuation, and then there's exhaustion ones that print on a big candle up like this one for 5%, especially when it's a single solitary one. So it's good. We've also seen these result in some really big uptrends too. So we can't necessarily shy away from these yet, but it's interesting to note that there's a breakout printing on the 4-hour for Skycoin and also here for Sand. Now, clearly this is an exhaustion breakout after seeing a big move here on Saturday, going up 40% and then having a pullback with all the stuff that's happening. But still, if we look here on the daily time frame, we're in bullish consolidation. This is normal price action bullish consolidation. Having a touch back here to the fast line at about 12 cents would be decent for an entry. The main thing that's interesting as well for Sand that we have to watch is on balance volume was already, before the pump, it was already showing us good bullish continuation, good bullish momentum. So getting extremely overbought short term, having a pullback, it's not really the end of the world at all. Now these orange flags are highlighting TBO close shorts, these orange diamonds. Knight already got one of these back on Wednesday last week, about 7 days ago. So we have a TBT bullish divergence and a close short yet again. Now, we've already seen this happen before. How do we trade this? I wait. Personally, while we do have a good RSI reset, which is a good conservative entry opportunity, we have to also recognize that's a lot of volatility for this, and things are quite shaky right now. I would not be chasing any positions, especially for midnight right now. We also have to acknowledge the fact that the chart has been strong bearish because the price is below the fast line. It's also new, so we don't have a lot of data from the TBO yet because we need more time for the cloud to develop. The next thing that would be interesting to see would be more TBO close shorts. I personally think that is short-term overbought, that we might see another drop. But if we can see a higher low, somewhere down here to 5 cents, that would actually be pretty decent for Knight. Another thing that's interesting as well is Quant or Quantum Ledger, I believe. This one had a TBO close short on Friday last week. It shot all the way up here to $87. But because we have these, we're waiting for the price to have a pullback to the fast line to give us our entry. Even though sometimes that might mean we have short-term drawdown, inevitably it's a good thing that we get a nice entry with the TBO close shorts. And the pullback we had yesterday went right to the fast line, which is great. And by the way, I keep talking about this. One way that you can do this with the TBO is simply by setting an alert. When you know that there's a close short printed, all you have to do is set up an alert so that when the symbol quant crosses, when the price crosses the TBO fast line once per bar, or once per minute actually might be better. So that way you're just getting pinged over and over. This is a great way to do it. And you can actually automate this as well with AllTrading, because with AllTrading, you would set up the webhook, you would set up the message over here. So that way you don't have to wait for this to happen. You don't have to set an alert for it and then go like, okay, check this. You could actually just automate this whole trade by using AllTrading, which is awesome. Now, the other thing that's important to note here with quant is that the price went above the slow line. It went to the top of the cloud, which is great. That's where we want to see things go. But if you've been watching videos on this channel for the last 2 weeks or so, you know that the top of the daily TBO cloud is a good termination zone or a reversal zone. While quant could make a bounce all the way up here to resistance, it's important to note that it consistently puts in lower highs over and over and over and over. This is essentially the euthanasia coaster, okay? The euthanasia coaster is a great example. It's a euthanasia coaster because if someone were to actually ride this, the amount of G-force by these successively lower circles right here would kill you. That's why it's a euthanasia coaster. Now notice we have lower highs here happening over and over and over, but this is crypto in a nutshell, all right? We're seeing these pushes up higher. Yes, it's very deceptive and it feels good to see it having a nice reversal, but we also have to zoom out to recognize and realize, well, yes, it does push to the top of the cloud, but it doesn't necessarily push to like these incredible new all-time highs. Could it happen? Absolutely. It has happened before, but only in the right circumstances. And knowing that we're heading into a bear market, it's not one of those circumstances, in my opinion. These ones with green flags, there are a lot of them. These are charts that I am deeming bullish, either because of the TBO, the trending breakout indicator, or based off of price action. Now, Monero XMR. Again, this is where it pays to use the TBO. We know that Monero XMR had a great push starting on Saturday the 10th, 10 days ago, and it shot up 77%. If you missed that rally, guess what? The next best thing to do is to enter on a pullback to the fast line. And this is what I call a TBO springboard bounce. These work best after a super bullish move and a pullback. Why do these work so well? Well, they work well because the chart was already confirmed previously bullish. So if we know the chart was previously bullish and it has a pullback, there's still demand for a chart like this. And lo and behold, the TBO Fast line works extremely well for generating an entry. And then we exit just below this red dotted line, the TBO Fast line. Note that the price yesterday bounced. It moved up 18%, but it didn't go anywhere close to the high. This is why I love using the TBO indicator. So good. Now, another thing to note about the TBO springboard bounce, the next bounce is much less likely to do the same thing. It can happen, but usually the first bounce is the best. So if we get a pullback on XMR down to the fast line again today, I'm not expecting it to make another bounce of 15%. And I've been using this indicator since 2018, 2019. So I know how it works. I've seen it do this many, many times over. It's always possible for XMR to go up higher. Again, our termination target, our top target is about $1,030. XLM, stellar lumens. This is clearly not a bullish chart. Why do I have it here marked as bullish? I have it here marked as bullish because the price almost fell down to support here. But look at this candle right here. This is actually a pretty good candle as in a hammer. So a Japanese candlestick called a hammer usually appears at the end of a bearish downtrend, and it typically has an extremely long lower wick and a very thin long body or a thin candle, right? So a long lower wick, sometimes little to no upper wick. While I don't like using Japanese candlesticks for most of crypto because it's not as helpful, usually they're not so accurate, so I do have to put that disclaimer out there. They work much better with Bitcoin, but for everything else, it's a real risk. However, it is a hammer. So we could see a good bounce up here for XLM. Now note, there is a pretty strong downtrend. Any move up for XLM, note it keeps putting in lower highs. It would be silly for us to think, oh, it's going to pop 12% today. Note it didn't even push up to resistance a couple days ago. So the first touch should always be the fast line. And then maybe up a little bit higher to like 23 cents, maybe. Hype. This one has fallen down so many times to this support level. The last time it shot up to the fast line, exceeded it by just a little bit, and then it got rejected again. Here it is, back at support. So if we're going to be taking a long, we would be looking to sell at the fast line. Maybe it might go up a little bit higher. But again, we're not looking at this trying to find the ultimate Pico bottom. Why? Because hype is still macro bearish. This is still a good entry for a quick scalp, but nothing like, oh, this is where I'm going to go all in with everything. I'm going to take out a loan for this. It's going to go up here to $58, $59. No. All right, so SHIB, another good example of a hammer. Now, will SHIB actually give us a hammer recovery? I don't know. It's SHIB. I mean, it's a meme coin. This is a very convincing hammer, to be honest, and hammers don't have to be green. They can be red or green. It doesn't matter. But we could see a reversal. Now, we want to be also pretty clear that there's pretty strong resistance right at the fast line, so maybe a push up to 3%. It'd be nice to see another tag up here to the TBO resistance level. Ultimately, on the next push for Bitcoin, we should see everything go up to its the TBO slow line up here, but there's no guarantee either. World Liberty Financial, this one had a really nasty lower wick below the cloud, but it held above the cloud. That's still bullish in my book. This one actually, I was trying to get an entry on a pullback, but it's actually pushing up today. Good for them. Meme Core. So it's been really weird in this sideways price action, just chopping back and forth, but it's really good for trading. Don't ignore charts like this that are just giving. Even though it's small, this is good stuff. Note that the slow line is still pointing up aggressively so. So the target for meme core would be the top of the cloud at $1.83 or so, but just below would be smarter. Pump, this one also had a hammer, although this one isn't there. A hammer would be better like down here instead of on a pullback like that. It's a little bit rough. But the good news for this one is that it closed. The TBO closed short from back over here. It did not close below previously broken resistance, which is confirming it as support, even though it pierced it clearly. We tagged the fast line, so that's closed. The next thing we want to see is a higher high for pump, but just be aware, it would be the last move up, at least to me. Pull, well, this isn't really a hammer per se. It is a nice long lower wick. And usually when we see these nice long lower wicks, it's a sign of confidence. So hopefully we'll see a push up. It did close below the cloud, but any move up here close to resistance should be considered an exit, not an entry. Atom, again, similar price action. It went down a lot, but even though it fell down 10%, seeing it close green on the day is a positive sign. Again, moving up to TBO resistance would be the next target to watch for, but not exactly that price, somewhere below it. Tezos, crazy price action. Great long lower wick, but it actually wicked up even higher yesterday, up to 64 cents, and it's above the cloud still. It's in bullish consolidation mode. Note, this is typically what it does before it rolls over. This is what it does before it rolls over. Could it keep going higher? It could. And that would be a short squeeze generated rally. But understand that it's still on a macro bearish downtrend. There's no reason for it to shoot up higher and higher right now. Syrup. This one on the daily time frame, even though it printed a TBT bearish divergence on Friday, I still feel like this one could bounce back. It's mostly bullish because this is the kind of price action that's really good for trading. It's a lot of this up and down, a lot of recoveries. It's dropping and it's moving back up. It doesn't look like it on the daily, but on the hourly time frame, you can see it much clearer. This is still really good for trading, believe it or not. You could do really well DCA style trading these charts. Okay, it's harder to do it when it starts getting into a downtrend, but I still think that charts like this are fun to trade. XPL Plasma, this one is very interesting. Yesterday's lower wick exceeded the low set on the 18th of December, but we kind of sort of have a double bottom here. Really interesting, considering the fact that Plasma went all the way up here just below the 236. We'll have better confirmation of that based off of price moving up. If we get a tag and a rejection at the fast line, well, that's too bad. But if this is a real double bottom, we should see another push up here to this high at 21 cents and actually exceed the 236. River, this one continues to chug up higher and higher. Note volume consistently pouring into this chart, which is amazing. This is very similar to Syrup, but this one is much easier to trade because it keeps pushing up higher and higher and higher. So this is a very, very, very forgiving chart. Zero, same story. Even though it had a long lower wick, it's still bullish because it's strong bullish above the cloud. Mana, this one had a nice long lower wick, but it closed up green. That's positive. It's a good choppy chart. Stable, this one also closed up green on the day. So I know things are pretty rough across the board, but it doesn't mean that everything is toast and done. There are just some good buy the dip opportunities. If anything, a lot of these charts are showing buy the dip energy right now to me, which again makes me expect and believe that we're going to see totally 50 and totally 100 bounce back and others dominance bounce back as well. Zen, even though it closed red yesterday, it's still above the cloud. Now, for some clearly bearish signs here on some of these charts. BNB and many others printed TBO close longs on the 4-hour time frame, but all it takes is a reversal back up to touch the fast line on the 4-hour, which is at 9:34. It's going to do it in a couple of minutes. To be honest, I expect a lot of these to bounce back. I know I sound like a broken record, but I think it's important that you have to recognize that the market did buy the dip across the board. ICP, this price action is crazy. So it's being suppressed. It did close the close long. It did go, actually, it printed not a higher local high, but at least it exceeded all of this craziness. So I still think that ICP could take a bounce up higher, a push up higher. Chili's, this one had 2 TBT bearish divergences over the weekend and now 2 closed longs. That's a really bad sign. Even though it saw this before and it pushed up a lot higher, this is typically a bearish sign, just so you know. And on the daily time frame, we are now no longer overbought. We're actually, it's not so bad yet because today is still going. We want to see another push up. Ideally, the next push up we get like this, it won't put in a higher high for RSI. That'll be our opportunity to short a chart like Chili's. And it is almost at the top of the cloud as well, which is worth pointing out that it does this very consistently, pushing up, and then it's done. This one printed a TBT bearish divergence on Saturday. On the 4-hour, it printed 3 TBO closed long. So it negates all these breakouts, a lot of volatility that's happening, but it's still good for trading. Golem, this one also printed a TBO closed long on Sunday, but it closed it on the volatility yesterday. Look at that long upper wick though. So even though that's a lot of volatility happening in both directions, that's a Darth Maul candle, by the way, for those that don't know the actual technical analysis word for it. But I still think that we could see Golem turn around. The next thing we want to be watching for is volume picking up to show demand, which is decent. But I don't expect Golem to necessarily go all the way up to resistance. It's taken a big hit, but I don't think it's necessarily down and out for the count forever. XRP, this one had actually a pretty good candle yesterday, even though it confirmed an open short and that feels bearish. All it's going to take is a little bit of a push up to go above short-term overhead resistance. I still think that it could have one more push up here to TBO resistance at 232. Tron closed red, which is actually a really positive sign yesterday. Why? When Tron starts to sell off, that usually means that the market is becoming more risk on. The market's looking for alts to actually buy instead of hedging with Tron. Just hear me out, okay, on this. And on the 4-hour time frame, it also printed a TBT bearish divergence and a close long. That's a bearish combo. Zcash, this one did not push above previously lost resistance. In fact, it came up and tested it. The next thing I expect to happen next for Zcash is for it to fall lower. It already tested previously lost resistance. Now we expect it to fall. We'll see what happens. Litecoin, unfortunately, printed a TBO breakdown. This is really unfortunate. Breakdowns are the opposite of breakouts. These are all pink, by the way, because these are some bearish signals to pay attention to. For all of you that are holding on to hope, beyond hope, we've seen these typically print at the bottom of massive selling. And that usually means a rally to the top of the cloud, which would be fantastic in the case of Litecoin. But again, I feel like this one it's not going to snap back. I don't know. I feel like it's a losing battle, but it usually does pump. We've seen other OG coins like Dash, Zcash, XMR, Bitcoin Cash pump, and no Litecoin pump. Really weird. Lighter, I believe. This one printed a TBO breakdown. Not a perfect 3 in a row cluster, but really close. This means that we should be expecting some more bearish downside continuation. Not good. SPX also has TBO breakdowns forming as well. There is clear support here on the 4-hour at 45 cents and also down here at 43 cents if you're looking for a bottom buy entry. It does have some pretty crazy snapbacks. There's also daily TBO support here at 45 cents as well. ETHFi, like Litecoin, printed a TBO breakdown on the daily time frame, but more importantly, it lost support. So there's a good chance this is going to keep going lower and lower. Fartcoin, this one lost short-term support. This is the one I was hoping it wouldn't drop that much because Fartcoin is our altcoin barometer for bullishness. And that's a pretty nasty candle. If you're looking to open up a short, this is really where you would be looking to short a coin like this because it lost support. So there's a good chance that it will fall lower. Now, if we get a bullish reversal, Fartcoin will shoot back up, but it still has resistance. So whether it pushes up above here and goes up higher, let me say it this way. Opening up a short here is not a bad idea. And if that gets stopped out, cool. Then you open up a short here. It's not likely to continue moving up higher. Again, it's Fartcoin, people. Merle, unfortunately, lost support, and it printed a TBO breakdown yesterday, which is not good. Even though RSI, actually, RSI is looking pretty rough, to be honest. I was trying to find some positive news about this, but it's lost support. Now, it's short-term oversold, so it'll probably snap back real quick to the fast line sometime, but that would be an entry for a short position, not to go long. I would not be looking to buy the dip. I would be looking to sell the bounce. That would make way more sense on a chart like this. It failed. It lost support. We have to treat it accordingly. We can't be super duper bullish about it. Dash, this is one that continues to show signs of weakness. Volume is starting to fall considerably, even though on-balance volume is bullish, even though it's still strong bullish on the cloud. In terms of the TBO, we got a mini move up here on Sunday, but it's starting to show signs of weakness as well for RSI. On the 4-hour time frame, it has 2 TBT bearish divergences, not the end of the world. Hopefully, we get one more push up here to get a really nice entry on a short position like this. We would want a pretty wide stop too. So it means very low leverage. But charts like this, I mean, they inevitably all drop. There's no reason for Dash to go up higher. I don't care about the privacy coin narrative. Yes, we've seen it push up a lot higher. Not really buying it though, literally. Now onto your picks. Again, if you got coins you want me to check out, leave a comment down below. Let's get into it. Rose or Oasis. Crazy move yesterday. This is why I love trading crypto. Even though for some of you it's super frustrating to see charts like this pump, I didn't know that it was going to pump. But the reality is that the market will always create or find an escape hatch when the market is dumping and bearish. Note what happened the last 2 times Rose moved up to the top of the cloud. Rejected, rejected, and it's right here at the top of the cloud. What makes more sense for Rose right now? Bullish continuation? Maybe. It could. But we know that it's up at the top of the cloud. We also know that it just tagged the weekly fast line. The last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times this happened since May. It got massively rejected. Could this be the one time where it has a massive bullish reversal? It could be. Is that statistically likely? It is not. I love this ticker. Great for trading because it's just so whippy, so volatile, especially on faster time frames. Great price action. That's a 14% move. That's really, really, really good. Now, the clear things to watch here are RSI. Are we seeing strength building? No, we're seeing weakness, which is okay. If we see this level of support here for RSI getting lost, this incremental support fan, that's something where we want to be like, okay, pause, time out. If I were trading this, I would be looking to want to take an entry around here and then having a stink bid down here, meaning a really, really low order just in case. Because chart like this hasn't revisited this low. And if it does some sort of fat finger, that's like a 93% bounce right there. I don't expect it to dump, but I'm just saying. ICE, Open Network, ICE, baby. We got a TBO closed short on Sunday. Cool. Now we're waiting for a pullback to the fast line. The target's going to be the daily slow line up here at 0.004 on the weekly time frame. Great push last week, almost touched the fast line. This one actually does exceed the cloud by a little bit, so maybe it goes up here, but that's super unlikely. We have to be realistic about this as well. Monad. This one is looking really bearish. Remember this one that had 2 TBT bearish divergences and 2 closed shorts, just like the one that I shared back over here. Which one was it? Oh, I don't remember. Oh, it was Gollum, wasn't it? No. I don't remember. Help me. Obi-Wan Kenobi, help me. Was it XRP? Was it Tron? Oh, whatever, it doesn't matter. You guys will tell me in the comments, I'm sure. But this is usually the outcome. 2 TPT bearish divergences, 2 closed longs. We see bearish downside continuation. Now we have TBO breakdowns. So if you're really hyped up about Monad, then you'll be really hyped up about it. No, I'm just kidding. Down here at support. So at about 0.017 would be the next place to DCA into this position. Keep in mind as well that we have resistance up here. So now we want to be watching this for a pivot high. If for some reason we see some crazy move, it already lost support, by the way. So if we see some sort of bounce here, awesome. I don't expect it to happen, but that would be great. But then the reality of this is that it's oversold short term. So yes, it should go back up to the fast line. If it goes up any higher, overhead resistance is king right now. It also has fibs to watch as well. So any sort of push up, if it goes beyond there, I mean, the 0.5 fib level is pretty strong. Maybe it could terminate at the 0.618 at the golden fib. Maybe. ACH, this one is pushing closer and closer to the top of the cloud. That would be our exit opportunity for a chart like this, just like back over here. Just like over here, it went above the cloud back in July, but that's normal. On the weekly, it's tagged the fast line. Could it bounce from here because it basically double bottom? It could. I always want to emphasize that just because it's going up here doesn't mean that it's over. But given the fact that we're really close to a bull trap being completed, this is why I keep saying, I know it feels like we could go up a lot higher, but we also want to be careful about this. Now, let's say for the sake of an argument, you have a position in ACH and you're really excited about being up and you haven't taken profits yet. Well, consider the fast line being a pretty good short-term target. If you bought here on the dip, you're up 30%, cool. And if you don't want to close your position entirely, great. You could consider selling a little bit, 30 to 50%, and then put a crazy stink bid up here for a fat finger, or basically a big fat pump up there. It could always happen. It could. It's not likely to happen, but it could happen. So there's nothing wrong with that. And by doing that, actually, your break even. So if you entered here and you sell at a 30% increase, you're going to be able to basically be at break even well below the current price. That means the price would have to fall down a lot more for you to actually be in the red. Not at that exact price, but you get the idea, the concept. Flare, this one did have a TBO close short, which closed it. Yes, it would be great to see a bullish reversal. This keeps happening though. Tag the fast line, tag the fast line, tag the fast line, tag the fast line. Feels like I'm saying rock the Casbah. At least that's what I'm hearing in my mind. Rock the Casbah. Great song. Shania don't like it. Boom, boom, boom. Now, we got long-term support down here. This is inevitably where it's heading. Notice, seeing lower highs. We're going to see a touch of support, maybe one more move, maybe, but it's going to break support. A lot of these will. You don't want to believe me, but they will. Aave, this one closed its recent close short. It's kind of okay. This is one though I just don't like. It's really frustrating to trade because it's just so blech. And notice it's putting in lower highs over and over and over. If we get some sort of rally at the top of the cloud, makes the most sense to exit at 223 or the golden fib at 618. But inevitably, this and so many other charts are going so much lower in the bear market. Down to $50 would make the most sense. Down here to 44, 45. That's super duper likely for Aave, just so you know. Desync, Destra Network. I believe, I don't remember the guy's name, but the crazy guy who wears diapers in his thumbnails, who always talks about this chart, and he's super duper bullish. Yes, great move. 300% is incredible. It's staying above the fast line. That's great. It's showing good consolidation. That's great too. Volume isn't really overwhelming, but it is holding in this range. That's awesome. Now let's be realistic and zoom out. Does Destra usually go wildly higher above the fast line? I'm sorry, the slow line. No, it doesn't. Had a couple of times where it touched it, went a little bit above, got rejected. What's the macro trend? It's down. Any push up here to 6 cents should be considered an exit. It also tagged the weekly fast line. So it's gotten rejected so many times ever since May 2025. Didn't we just talk about this on another chart? It got rejected, rejected probably again. Is there a great reason to buy it? Yes. Are you kidding? This chart had a crazy 300% move. So I would much rather buy it again down here or lower because of the hype around it. Maybe. Last but not least, Aptos. What's the macro trend? It's bearish. It is bearish. It's hard to ignore that. It lost a lot of momentum. It fell out of the cloud. It's back to being strong bearish. What can we learn from this? Well, we should be seeing some sort of push up to the fast line at 265 currently. On the weekly time frame, we are seeing a higher low, which is good. So maybe we could see some push up there to 265, which would kind of correlate to the top of the cloud, maybe. It's also here at resistance, maybe, but I don't see good reasons for it to monumentally pump right now. A lot of these charts are still very, very beat up, okay? These are really good picks and they're really good. It's helpful insight for me to know what you guys are interested in and what you're looking at and what you're invested in, because it also informs me as a trader as well as everyone else watching. I hope you guys are picking up on this because it's important that you pay attention to the tickers that people suggest. That is a social metric that you can use to gauge interest, to gauge sentiment and see, does the chart match the interest or the sentiment? We could still see another rally up. I still expect Bitcoin to move up inevitably to like 100K, 102K, and then roll over from there. And note, back in 2022 and also back in 2018, when Bitcoin had a good little move like that, it didn't just go up and then absolutely dump. It took about a week for the price to actually roll over. So what's going to happen if this does happen? Bitcoin will go up. Alts will lag behind, but once it starts to stabilize up there, then the money will flow into alts. They'll go up a lot higher, but inevitably you want to be watching RSI because the moment RSI in the daily time frame starts weakening, even though the price is going up higher, that's a bearish divergence signal. If the price is going up and tagging the top of the cloud, that's an exit opportunity where you can at least de-risk your position, sell a little bit, and then as it starts to roll over, put a stop loss in to protect profit. I did this with Morpho on a trade setup that I had for myself. That's been in play for a long time. So I got my first take profit target hit. It started to show signs of weakness. I put my take profit, or rather my stop loss, in the profit zone. Stop losses aren't just for losing money. Sometimes they're for protecting profit. That's why it's called a stop loss. You're not going to lose more money on the trade. There's nothing wrong with this stuff. You want to be so aggressive. If you're going to be trading throughout the bear market, the last thing I'll tell you, you need to be so disciplined to sell on the first pump. Even if it's 1% profit and you're like, I feel like it could go higher, de-risk, 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 especially if you're using spot, you're not using leverage, you're DCA style trading, the price goes up and you're in just a little bit of profit, de-risk the trade. If it goes up another 50%, cool, great, you're making money. Most people aren't. So de-risk your position, consider scaling out as soon as you're just a little bit in profit. It might feel preemptive. You might want to kick yourself later on, but there are no guarantees in a bear market that we get sustained rallies that last for a long time. Everything's going to be going a lot lower this year. It's a bear market year. Now, there are still great opportunities. I showed you a ton of charts that I picked and also you suggested, and there are way more that are firing all the time. And AllTrading is showing us exactly what's happening based off of their quick scan feature. So I want you to watch this video that I posted on Sunday because it's going to show you how to use the quick scan, the settings that I use to find some good scalping opportunities. And that way you can learn how to use the AllTrading trading platform to maximize profits in a bear market. So watch this. Until the next time, you know what to do. Stay awesome and stay in the green. Peace.